The phone rang at 2:47 a.m., that cursed hour when only tragedy dares to speak. The voice on the line was flat, mechanical. "Your son is in critical condition." It sounded like they were reading a receipt, not delivering a parent's nightmare. My chest tightened, hands numb. He was just 6. Still losing baby teeth. Still afraid of the dark. Still calling me Dad, like it made him invincible. I'd only been gone 3 nights for work, something I couldn't postpone. I left him in the care of my wife and her mother, thinking he'd be safe. I called her immediately, struggling to form words. "What happened? Is he?" Her laughter cut through, cold and cruel. Not shaken. Not grieving. Amused. "You shouldn't have left him with me," she said, as if I'd handed her an advantage in a game. Then her mother's voice followed, sharp and bitter. "He never listens. He had it coming." In that dark hotel room, I didn't scream or cry. The phone felt like lead in my palm. I boarded the earliest flight and arrived at the hospital before dawn. They came later, gasping at the sight of his bruised body tangled in tubes and machines. Their cries felt rehearsed, like a play they'd practiced. They claimed he slipped, fell down wet stairs, alone. I nodded, listening, but I didn't believe them for a second. My son was cautious, hyper-aware of his surroundings. What chilled me wasn't their flimsy excuse. It was how little effort they put into making it sound believable. My wife looked irritated more than heartbroken. Her mother muttered complaints about the hospital coffee. When I asked if he'd said anything before falling, my wife snapped, "He wouldn't stop whining about you." Her tone stung more than her words. It was like seeing a mask melt off her face, revealing something I'd never noticed. She never reached for his hand, never brushed his hair back. I stayed by his side, unmoving. I let them think I was paralyzed with sorrow, but I was gathering clues. Watching, listening. A nurse, glancing down the hallway to make sure no one saw, handed me his chart. "This wasn't a fall," she whispered. "Too many injuries. Too specific. Broken ribs. Bruised lungs. Defensive wounds." Later that night, I searched through his backpack and found a drawing. Crayon lines. Red circles looped around 2 large figures towering over a small one. Angry eyes on the adults. Tears on the child. He'd drawn what happened before it happened. I folded it carefully and tucked it into my coat. Then, in the hospital cafeteria, I opened my laptop. There, hidden in plain sight among the books in our living room, was a nanny cam I'd installed months ago. Forgotten by them, remembered by me. I watched the footage. My wife's voice rang out, "Stop crying. That's enough." A slap. My mother-in-law stood still, arms folded, while my son curled into himself on the floor. He didn't fall, they shoved him. I saved the video in 3 places: flash drive, phone, cloud. I didn't rush. I let them show up the next morning with flowers and pity. I stood by his bed as they wept their fake tears. Then, calmly, I handed my wife an envelope. Inside were screenshots from the video, pages from the chart, and the drawing. She opened it, brows furrowed. "What is this?" she asked, voice hollow. I didn't answer, just looked at her. She turned to her mother. "Did you know?" Her mother scoffed. "He was impossible. I told you we shouldn't have kept him. Kept him, like he was an object." That was when they fractured. Accusations flew between them. They denied, lied, wept, but I stayed silent. I stepped aside, and a detective entered the room. Their faces drained of color. Panic finally bloomed. I didn't push for charges immediately. I let them sit in it, let them beg and scream and unravel. My wife sobbed in the interrogation room. I sipped hospital coffee just outside the glass. Her mother demanded a lawyer no one rushed to find. Then I dropped the final blow. Full custody papers. No visitation. No loopholes. No chances. I didn't need a legal team. The evidence was a wall they couldn't scale. The nurse gave her statement. A child psychologist confirmed the drawing's significance. I took everything from them without raising my voice. I only said one thing to her, just once, before it was over. "You laughed." She collapsed in the courtroom hallway, not out of remorse, but because the control she thought she had slipped from her grasp. My son is healing now, still flinching at slammed doors, still asking if monsters are real. I tell him no, but not to lie, just because I've redefined the word. Monsters don't live under beds. They wear familiar faces, pass the salt at dinner, and smile while your child suffers behind closed doors. But I buried mine with nothing but the truth. And sometimes the most complete revenge is walking away whole with everything they tried to break.